Greetings from lovely Greece. My name is Brad and you're watching Surviving Capitalism. I wanted to talk to you guys today about the concept of when something goes from being a private thing to a public thing, and if there is such a thing. I know you guys are all reading the headlines about Facebook and the data privacy. I want to throw this out there for you. What if Facebook is just trying to survive capitalism? They're forced to sell the data because that's the only way they're going to make money. And it's the systemic issue of who owns what. That is the core and fundamental problem of the conversation about Facebook. This one corporation has access to all this information. I know there's an argument to be had about just not using it, and I do agree with that argument. But Facebook's kind of morphed into something that I call a social utility. That means that so many people use it, and it's so functional, it's like a public utility. You've got this platform, this private institution built to make money off of the public's information. In America, Senator Warren wants to break up the monopolies of Facebook, Amazon, and Google. I don't know if that's going to work or not, but I would propose that instead of breaking up the monopolies, we do one simple thing, which is very non-American, but very fundamentally important. I think we should address the issue of the data. I personally feel like a prisoner of information. I don't have control over it. Private people do. But it's my information. I created it. They just collected it. Yeah, sure, they had the platform. But at some point, I had to engage with that. And well, what if I don't want it out there? What if I don't want to share it? What if I don't want Facebook, Amazon, or Google to sell my information to the NSA or, I don't know, Nestle water? I view capitalism and democracy as being dipolar. Democracy is controlled by the many of their system of governance. Governance is not about money or business, it's about governing and people. And capitalism is about this individual's right, your individual right, to go and make money. I don't disagree with either of those systems, and I'm asking myself if there's a middle ground. I think there is. I think with Facebook, we have an opportunity to address the obvious flaw to capitalism, which is that people aren't being paid for what is naturally theirs. So if a private individual owns some land in Colorado and he wants to sell that land to a corporation who wants to hydrofrack it and then pump 70,000 gallons of polluted water into the ground, ruining their water table, he could do that pretty much. As a matter of fact, the governor of Colorado has threatened to sue any city or town that blocks this. So why does a private corporation have more rights than a community that actually lives on that land? Why does the community that built Facebook have less rights than Facebook? I mean, Facebook is nothing without us. I think people should have a right to make money, private institutions and whatnot. However, I do think we need to fix the obvious flaw to me. The information on Facebook, the database, the user information, I don't believe it's theirs anymore. I actually think it's the public's. I would suggest instead of breaking up the monopoly of Facebook, we change the ownership of the data. Basically, I don't want to be a prisoner of information. I want control of my information. I don't want to be able to say yes or no to private corporations who want to use my information to make money. And I want some sort of remuneration for that information usage. If you're a private community that wants to let a hydrofracking operation into your community, knowing the potential of ruining your water table, you should benefit financially from that. If we redress the idea of who owns what and who's indebted to who, perhaps we can fix this thing. Speaking of that, and this is just a random side note, did you know the beginning of democracy here in Athens started with the forgiveness of debt? Solon figured out that you can't be equal and you can't be free to make a political decision if you were enslaved in debt. So that was the start of the democratic revolution. Let's start a new revolution, a new democratic revolution. Let's give the information back to the people. Fuck it. What if all the land was given to the public, no one was kicked off, We provided leases, and communities were in control and had the power to decide whether private corporations could use these things, and/or individuals. Yeah, I know there's a lot of flaws to that, but that's kind of the argument that we have on Facebook. You have this one corporation selling all this information because they have to. It's our information, and we have no rights and say over it. And that is vastly being exploited by private corporations, foreign governments, and domestic to know you. You know what they could do with this information? Well, Facebook has these things called AI agents, and they can model your behavior and make a prediction on what will influence you. And then they'll load up a story to tell you, to get you to buy something or do something. It sounds like corporations are now imposing control methods to manipulate and end free will. That's kind of scary. You know, democracy requires a well-informed public. That's what journalism's about. I'm a big fan, by the way, of the idea of direct democracy. Get rid of the middlemen. I had this crazy, wild fantasy that Facebook could actually do something like that, but Facebook has to get out of the way of their own selves, I guess. But in a direct democracy, you know who has the power? Whoever controls the media. Facebook controls the media. Twitter controls the media. Google. And others. Considering that these corporations have all this information, I don't think they're really fully private corporations. I mean, hell, Facebook's traded on the stock market. Instead of tearing things apart, which a lot of people do, I think we should look for optimizations and solutions. You know, nature, the way humans evolved, was iterative. That means we incrementally got better. In technology, they have an iterative process. They incrementally optimize the solution or the product. But in democracy, we haven't done that much. Anyways, back to my point. My point is this. Perhaps the easiest way for us to fix the problem we're in regards to our democracy, in regards to our technology and information, is to really question who owns what. Maybe we should consider declaring eminent domain over the data of Facebook, having the individual's encryption, biometric or whatever, to lock it out, and people have to be asked to have access to this. Maybe we just get rid of Facebook and we do a blockchain version of Facebook, because Facebook actually does have some cool stuff that it does for us. Maybe we consider that Facebook is no longer a private corporation, but it's a social utility. And it's not in the interest of the world, in our democracy, to have one person, one group in control of all of the public's information, enslaving us, indebting us. Anyways, those are just my thoughts. Thanks for listening.